Creamer Media's Mining Weekly is speaking to Jacques van Heerden, the Managing Director of West Wits Mining, an Australian-listed company intent on reviving mining in South Africa's historic Witwatersrand Gold Basin. Jacques, when does West Wits Mining envisage that mining for gold could begin in terms of your Witwatersrand Basin project?
It's been a process getting up to this point where we recently got granted our mining right. We've recently announced our feasibility study, and we are now in a position of starting the mine there just outside of Johannesburg CBD. We're probably about 15 kilometers to the west of the Joburg CBD. And I'm happy to say that we've already started with bush clearing. We are busy rehabilitating some of the old shafts. So, yeah, we want to get going as quick as possible. And we hope to pull out the first ore early next year. And then from there on, start building up the project as we described in our feasibility study, ramping up our first stage to about 50,000 ounces a year, and then ultimately with the full potential of going to about 80 to 90,000 ounces per year.
So has all this been confirmed in your scoping study that this is possible, that you can do it?
Yes, we started off in 2019 with a scoping study just to see what's the potential of the whole block. And we identified in that scoping study about 5 mining targets. And we decided we'll take the first mining target, which we call the Kala Shallows, and put that into production and then roll over. And then over time, we will bring in the other 4 mining targets into production. And that will then ultimately get us to a production profile of about 80 to 90,000 ounces per annum.
And Jacques, who will mine this? Are you going to mine it yourselves, or have you chosen a contractor? What are you planning to do to mine this?
Look, at the moment, we're still a small company. We've got a dedicated management team. But the objective is that we are going to employ a contractor that will help us bringing the contractor's systems and then get this mining up and running. We are quite advanced in talks with a mining contractor. There's nothing that I can announce now, but hopefully in the coming weeks, we would have concluded our discussions with them, and then they're ready to go. Then we can start placing orders on mining equipment, and then start employing people, and then get the whole mine going.
And what mining method will be used here?
Look, luckily, the guys that's mined there in the past has given us a nice blueprint of how to do it. So we will pick up from what they've been doing in the past by deploying a typical breast mining method. And then, we'll just continue in that manner. So we will have our decline system will go down. We will then break away with Reef drives. And then we will raise up. And then, we'll establish typical breast mine stoping like the guys are doing currently all over South Africa.
Who was mining there before you arrived?
It's an old section of Rand Leases and DRD Gold. And that section that we are looking to reopen was closed, I think, in around 2001, 2002, thereabouts. So ever since that area has been dormant. And we now sort of, as you mentioned in the opening, we're now looking to revive the mining that took place there 20 years ago.
And how deep do you expect to go?
Well, we've got a couple of nice targets that's up to a depth of about 500 meters. So that in gold mining terms in South Africa, that's relatively shallow. And then on the one portion, what we call the Kala Deeps, we've got the ability to go beyond 500 meters up to a depth of about 2,000 meters. So there's quite a lot of mining still in that area. We sit with a 3.5 million ounce resource there at about 4.26 gram a ton. So there's still a significant ore body left for us, of which I would guess that probably about 60% of that sits in the upper 500 meters below surface section, So there's still a lot of mining for us available.
And where will you process the gold ore that you mine?
That's a good point. We have been in discussions with process facilities in the vicinity. We've identified that there is spare process capacity in the area. Therefore, we're not initially looking to put up a plant. So we are talking to people. We're just finalizing our discussions with them as well. You know, it's always been sort of a chicken and egg situation, is that some of the guys in the vicinity there didn't believe that we would actually get this mine up and running, get the mining right in place. So now that we've got everything like that, we are now in a position to prove to them that, yes, we can start mining. So once we start pulling up ore, we will then further our discussions for them to allocate space for us in their plants.
And then will the tailings go onto the tailings dumps of the processors, or do you have to have your own tailings facilities?
That's the whole idea, is that the guys that we're talking to have got licensed tailings facilities. In the vicinity where the mine is currently, that's one of the points that we want to try and avoid is put up a process facility and a tails facility where we mine. You know, if there's a licensed one a bit further away, then we will tap into that resource.
And I presume this processed ore will be refined at the Rand refinery?
Yes. The toll treaters, or the potential toll treaters that we are talking to, do have an account with Rand Refinery. So the whole idea is that they will toll treat for us, and then they would then send off the gold further to Rand Refinery for further refinement.
And with regard to the definitive feasibility study on the so-called Koala Shallows, what has this revealed, and why is it called the Koala Shallows?
Look, Koala stands for new beginning, you know, and that adds on to the theme that you started in the beginning of revival, you know. So we're looking to kickstart mining in that area, and that's why we called it Koala. And the Koala Shallows, as I mentioned, is the shallow stands for up until 500 meters deep, and then the Koala Deeps is one of the other mining targets that we can progress. So we decided to focus our DFS attention on the first 500 meters. And that yielded very strong results for us. We got a pre-tax NPV of about 150 million US with the IRR of about 35%. And then, you know, and another key matrix for us is the all-in sustaining cost, which came out to about 11.45 US dollar per ounce, which makes it quite competitive for the area that we're in, you know. So, so we were very excited about the results from the DFS. And it's important for us to also understand that that is stage 1 of 5. You know, we still have a lot more to come. We will put our other mining targets through a DFS process now in the coming months. And then hopefully by Q2 next year, we are in a position to announce the results of all the other DFSs.
How do you intend funding the Koala Shallows, and what other funding plans do you have?
We've already started discussing funding options with various people, and we're looking at a mix of raising some money on the ASX. We're looking at debt funders, and then we've got other instruments available to us, like a streaming option that we're also considering. You know, so at this point, now that our DFS is out, which came out about 2 weeks ago, we're now in a position to go and speak to financial institutions and advisors with real numbers. You know, before that we were not able to do so, but now we can. So we're looking at a mix, and we're looking to do some debt funding in Australia and also here in South Africa, so that everybody has got a bite at the cherry. You know.
Fantastic. And just give me a bit more elaboration on your other reef packages.
Right. So we are in a fortunate position that we've got 3 reefs, or, you know, predominant reefs that runs through the area. We've got the main reef that's predominantly higher grade, but that has also in the past been mined more than the other reefs. You know, that grade runs between about 5 to 7 gram a ton. Then we've got the bird reef. That's of a bit lower grade, but that's also near surface that we can access. And then we've got the Kimberley packages. So all 3 of these reefs have been extensively mined in the past, and all the toll treating operators that we are talking to have got extensive experience on processing these reefs, you know. So, and that's one of the benefits that we've got, is that even though we've done test work for the DFS study, most of the people that we talk to are familiar with the characteristics of these reefs, you know, so which will make toll treating discussions in future a lot easier.
And we're on a campaign now to get more listings on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, even if they're secondary listings. What are the chances of a secondary listing on the JSE?
We've definitely considered that. And our view at West Wits is that we want to grow our resource base here in South Africa, and perhaps look across the borders as well and raise our resource base there. And that will then definitely put us in a position where we have to consider a listing on the JSE, you know, because we want to identify as an African company. And, you know, by doing so, we are then, you know, if we then list on the JSE, you know, we hope to then attract further investments from Africa and South Africa. So it's definitely on the cards for us. I can't give you a date yet, but we have been talking about this as a board and as a management team quite extensively.
That was Creamer Media's Mining Weekly, speaking to Jack van Heerden, the Managing Director of West Wits Mining.